What does it mean to be a genius? It is a question hinged on the meaning of equality between people. Is a person said to be a genius from birth? Or is it something that can be trained? Some people say it's because of their genetics that other people surpass them in capability, while others say it's due to their environment that they can't foster genuine growth. At any rate, there is no cookie-cutter explanation as to what a genius is or how one is developed, but rather various interpretations that all have merit in their own right. False genius, Ayanokouji. Being the White Room's masterpiece, he is the embodiment of his educational philosophy. He consistently produced perfect results on various topics, even though he was not necessarily genetically gifted. It can be said that he learned more than some occur in a lifetime. However, key distinction in his genius lies in the nature of both the White Room's curriculum and its educational philosophy. The White Room was created to make exceptional people who excelled in numerous fields of endeavor by teaching forms of pre-existing knowledge. That means Ayanokouji's genius stemmed from the knowledge developed from innovations, and not innovation itself. This is best described in Year 2 Volume 10 by Ayanokouji in the act of drawing. I thought I could create something on impulse, but it didn't turn out that way. In the White Room, I learned numerous skills to enhance my aptitude. However, the process of thinking and creating on my own was not part of the curriculum. A genius by its nature is able to create or be something that is purely unique to them. This can be from Einstein's theory of relativity to the Fibonacci sequence. Creating something new from either pre-existing knowledge or cultivating something entirely new. Ayanokouji's title as the false genius is representative of his ineptitude to create something on his own while hinging on the vast knowledge of the people before him. That is where his genius lies, his ability to absorb and adapt to given information. An actual genius, Sakanavi Arisu. Being special since her birth, she's indicative of the opposition to the White Room's philosophy. She maintains the belief that no one can become a genius, but rather, it was something instilled into you from birth, hence calling Ayanokouji a false genius. Though she was gifted since birth, her genius more specifically takes shape in the form of her leadership. She makes calculated decisions while treating everyone within her governance equally, no matter their role. This way, she is able to keep her arms and legs spread out so that she herself does not get too close to them emotionally, which would result in bias in her judgment. Although she is very calculated in her decision-making, she also tends to target people that she either dislikes or has embarrassed her in some way, such as Yamauchi and Yahiko. Be that as it may, but as of Year 2 Volume 10, even she succumbs to her emotions as shown with Kamoru's expulsion. This is most likely the beginning of a growth within her character, most specifically due to her loss in the most recent special exam. The innovative genius Ryuen Pakaru. Ryuen is known for his cunning calculation and trademark problem-solving capabilities. Trademark in the sense that his discerning of a given situation is vastly different in terms of both logic and execution when comparing him to the other class leaders. While he creates his plans by incorporating risks and potential benefits, Ayanokouji does not do such. Due to his philosophy of attaining his own victory no matter the method and his understanding of the misery of being a loser, Ayanokouji does not go with options that induce a failure rate higher than the threshold he is willing to accept, meaning low probabilities of success such as Ryuen's 800 million private point plan are a null factor. In Ayanokouji's eyes, choosing such an option would be foolish and naive based on the currently given information, but the genius fostered in Advanced Nurturing High School supports this line of thinking. To be unconventional and thinking outside of the box are the qualities of a genuine genius. Hence, Ryuen's thinking, while similar, goes against Ayanokouji's textbook perfection with a more non-standard approach. For example, his victory during the survival and dropout of special exam during Year 2 Volume 10 is a testament to his ever-growing tactical abilities that were originally facilitated due to Ayanokouji's intervention on the rooftop back in Volume 7, pointing out the flaw in his prior thinking. Either way, Ryuen is a character whose genius is near impossible to replicate, and that his ingenuity is only able to be done by him. The unrealized genius, Susune Horikita. A person who was constantly looking at the back of her brother, Horikita Manabu, and as a result was extremely stagnant in her growth as an individual. As at the end of Year 1, the strides in her development can be seen in her becoming a unique existence rather than the replica of another. This is in large part due to Ayanokouji's indirect influence on her as well as Manabu's farewell in Volume 11.5. While Ryuen, Sakinagi, and Ichinose all have their own tendencies and styles of battle, Horikita herself is in the midst of figuring this out, creating decisions that are unique to her, such as keeping Kushida within the class after the unanimous vote special exam. Her development comes as a byproduct of the growth of the other three classes and Ayanokouji's involvement. Now, there's a clear and fundamental difference in how Horikita and Ayanokouji operate as individuals. Horikita induces the growth of individuals to a natural extent, such as the likes of Sudo, Yoshida, and even Ibuki to an extent. She gets people to realize their weakness as well as understand their aim and incorporates it into her own methodology. Ayanokouji, on the other hand, accelerates people's growth to an almost abnormal degree. This is due in part to the knowledge he obtained from the White Room. He uses methods to almost force their growth, and if they don't acclimate, they would inevitably fall to the wayside. With Hirata, that was to make him more open to different possibilities than simply one strict one within the class. With Ryuan, of showing him that violence isn't the deciding factor when it comes to solving problems. Not only this, but also to understand his limits in his current state. At any rate, Horikita's untapped genius is developing thanks to Manabu's influence on Horikita and even Ayanokouji and his plans for the future. The unpredictable genius, Honami Ichinose. Ironically, Ichinose's approach to things before the events of Year 2 Volume 8 were simple and straightforward, maintaining class unity, making sure no one within her class is expelled, and keeping yourself morally right. Combined with her exceptional analytical skills, this idea worked fairly well. However, the chink in the armor is only noticeable in the long term. These actions are all right in the short term and are beginning of her class's ascension. Problem shows itself in the later stages of development. All the class leaders are developing and growing while furthering a rise to the upper classes, while she yet remains stagnant due to her aforementioned philosophy. After the events of Year 2 Volume 8, it can be seen that there is a slight switch in her actions. While she keeps the morally just part of her personality, she begins to use tactics that she would never have used previously, such as her own indirect manipulation, as shown with Watanabe, as well as there being an increase in her overall cunningness, as shown with her acute awareness of the subtle changes in Kanzaki due to Ayanokouji. These developments within Ichinose are the result of Ayanokouji's direct actions towards her, and her love for Ayanokouji being the catalyst for said growth. She become increasingly unpredictable in her actions as they are in stark contrast to the previous version of herself. Along with her ability to win over comrades, she's beginning to gain momentum from a previously stagnant class. Because of the fact Advanced Nurturing High School's educational philosophy shows that changes are simply predestined from birth, Ayanokouji's influence into the students is all the more paramount. Because he himself didn't have superior genetics, but rather was an anomaly, his implicit actions towards the growth of people like Horikita, Hirata, Ryuan, Ichinose, and even Sakinagi to a degree, shows the ever-expansive experiment that he's trying to conduct. Is someone considered to be superior purely due to their genetics, purely due to their environment, or a mix of both? Narratively, Ayanokouji is the embodiment of hard work being the determining factor in the development of a person. So while using his predetermined knowledge for the betterment of the people around him, he witnesses the birth of a new educational philosophy. An educational philosophy that is not simply black or white, but gray in nature. To test an educational theory to potentially produce the best results possible, but in a different way than the White Room, is what Ayanokouji is implicitly doing at Advanced Nurturing High School. His looming switch to Ichinose's class in order to foster a development within her and her class via his direct intervention showcases this. What it means to be a genius is not clear-cut, but Ayanokouji's experiment intends to solve this mystery.